What's going on, guys? Coach Hayden here, and today we're going to be talking about 5 different strategies for weight loss. So for a lot of our clients and for a lot of people that come into the gym, weight loss is by far one of the number one goals that people have in mind. It's good for physique goals, but also it's one of the most important things that you can do for your health. So weight loss is a good thing, and it's something that we can prioritize when we come to the gym. But how do we do that? What kind of steps do we take to get there? There are a lot of different things and strategies that you can implement. As you're probably familiar, if you've been around the online fitness scene for any amount of time, there are millions of different tips, strategies, and approaches that you can take, which can make it a little confusing to pick one, and you may not know not only what works, but what works for you, what's going to be best accustomed to your goals. That's what we're going to go over today. We're going to go over 5 really good strategies that we advise to people all the time here at Steel. First is counting calories. So in terms of accuracy, counting calories is the best thing that you can do to help you lose weight. But before we get into the different strategies, specifically with this first one, we need to go over the foundations of weight gain, weight loss, and weight maintenance. How do we manage our weight? Well, there's something called the calories in, calories out model, which all that means is that in order to lose weight, you need to be expending more energy than you are taking in. So the food that you eat throughout the course of a day over long-term periods will either make you maintain your weight, gain your weight, or lose a certain amount of weight. So what we first need to do is determine how much food it takes to keep you at your current body weight. So one of the first things that we recommend people do is to keep a food log before you make any changes, track it for maybe a couple weeks, and then see how much food it takes for you to maintain your body weight. After we determine this number, which will be in calories, then we can think about taking calories off of that number. So let's say you track your foods for 2 weeks and you figure out that it takes 2,000 calories to maintain 140 pounds body weight, 140 pounds body weight. Then all we need to do is subtract around 250 or 500 calories, somewhere in that range, from that baseline number, and then you're good to go. You're off to the races. Then you should maintain that deficit for a month or so. See what kind of progress you make. You can keep tracking your food. And then if you're losing weight at about 0.5 to 2% of body weight per month, then you're good to go. You don't need to change anything. If nothing happens, then you might need to re-examine how much you're eating. And that's what counting calories can be good for, is it can point out that you often underestimate how much you're eating, and it keeps you honest in that way. On the other hand, if counting calories is not for you, if it's way too tedious, there are lots of other approaches. And that leads us to our second approach, which is definitely not exclusive from all the other approaches, but protein, getting enough protein in your diet. This is going to be your best friend. Out of all the 3 macronutrients, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, proteins are by far the most satiating. They keep you full for the longest amount of time. So if you think about your own personal experience, it's a lot easier to slam down a bunch of French fries than it is to put away a lot of grilled chicken. So protein, especially animal sources, also things like fiber, those are the kinds of foods that keep you full for longer. So it's actually a lot harder to accidentally overeat or to overdo your calories. So prioritizing protein is a really good trait of weight loss diet plans, and they can help keep you on track for your weight loss goals. Another thing about protein in particular is that it helps you gain muscle a lot more easily. So when you're coming into the gym, you're training your muscles and they need to recover. Protein allows them to recover quicker, and it can allow them to get stronger or bigger. And that is a good thing. Also, because when you have more muscle mass, your resting energy expenditure increases. So even when you're not doing anything, you're just sitting around, or when you're training, you burn more calories than you would if you didn't have as much muscle mass. So if we prioritize eating enough protein so we stay fuller and we have more muscle mass on our frame, it allows us to expend more calories and to therefore lose weight a lot easier. Thirdly is minimizing junk food. So as you guessed, these are the pizza, fast food burgers, French fries, sodas, the things that are really easy to eat a lot of. And what do all these things have in common? They are very high in fat, high in salt, and high in sugar. Those are the things that make food taste really good. And in the context of a reasonable diet, they're definitely not a problem, but they are a lot easier to overconsume. So, if we think about when you go to a restaurant, and if you can even take something like soda, A 12-ounce can of Coke has 140 calories per 12 ounces of soda. But if you eat out and you get a medium cup from a fast food restaurant, those things are 20 ounces. So if you fill that whole thing up and you get a refill, that's almost 500 calories just from soda. So if we could cut back to when you eat out, going from 2 cups to 1 cup or even half of that 20-ounce cup, that's several hundred calories right there off the bat. So those are just some things that we can do without even having to count calories, just to work on habits and lifestyle changes of not eating so much junk food, but you can still include them every once in a while. And we want this diet to be enjoyable for you, but we need to make some adult decisions, and that's one great thing that we can do for our diet. Fourthly is timing larger meals. So we talked about hunger before with protein. It can often be helpful to eat larger meals during times that you know you're gonna be hungry. So for example, let's say when you wake up and during your breakfast time, you're not that hungry. One thing you can do is you can eat a smaller meal during breakfast so that you have more calories to work with once lunchtime comes around. Let's say that's when you get really hungry. You can think about it in this way, like a budget, to where you have a certain amount of calories or meals, depending on how you count your energy expenditure or your energy intake. You have a certain amount of meals or calories to work with, and you can put more in areas where you need it more and less in other areas. And also, like a well-balanced budget, you can treat yourself every once in a while. So you know what your body tells you as far as hunger goes, so you can play around with how you time larger meals and smaller meals and figure out a routine that works best for you and keeps you on track. Lastly is eat the foods that you like to eat. A diet can be a great tool to get you towards weight loss, but even if you construct the most perfect diet plan in the world, it is useless if you can't stick with it. And if you don't eat the things that you like to eat, that's not going to be happening, or it's not very sustainable. You might maintain it for a week or so, and then you burn out really quickly. So that's why we want to incorporate the things that you like to eat. So just like we talked about timing larger meals, if you have times where you have more calories to work with when lunchtime comes around, then you can include some higher calorie things that you enjoy eating that still conform to the outline of your budget as far as your diet goes, but you can still include those things and you don't have to feel bad about it. So those are 5 great strategies and tips that you can implement into your diet, and it can be a great place for you to start as far as thinking of things that you can do to help you lose weight. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.